Another female employee of the military contractor KBR has come forward with allegations of rape in Iraq. In an interview with The Nation magazine last week, the woman identified by the pseudonym Lisa Smith says two colleagues raped her at a southern Iraqi military base in January. Smith says a supervisor told her to keep quiet or face danger. Last year, former KBR employee Jamie Leigh Jones sued KBR and its former parent company, Halliburton, after she says she was drugged and gang raped by employees of the company in Baghdad. Jones recounted that after she was raped, the company put her in a shipping container without food or water for at least 24 hours. She was also warned that if she left Iraq for medical treatment, she'd be out of a job. Jones has said that 38 other female contractors have privately come forward with their own stories of sexual harassment and abuse in Iraq and other countries. A criminal probe into Jones's case has lasted more than 2.5 years. No charges have been filed. Today, in their first joint interview, we speak to both of these women who've bravely come forward with their stories. Lisa Smith, as we'll call her to protect her privacy, will be testifying publicly tomorrow, that's Wednesday, before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee in D.C. She joins us on the phone from Texas. Jamie Leigh Jones joins us on the line from San Diego. She's the founder and director of the Jamie Leigh Foundation, which assists U.S. citizens victimized by government contractors or other corporations while working abroad. She's testified twice before Congress and spoken out in the media about her case. I'm also joined on the phone by their attorneys. For Lisa Smith, Dan Ross. For Jamie Leigh Jones, Todd Kelly. And joining us from Baltimore is Karen Houppert. She broke the story of Lisa Smith's rape allegations for The Nation magazine. The article is called Another KBR Rape Case, posted at thenation.com. Karen's latest book is Home Fires Burning, Married to the Military, for Better or Worse. We welcome you all to Democracy Now! I want to begin with Jamie Leigh Jones. Tell us, for those who haven't heard your story, hi, Jamie, when you were in Iraq and what happened.
Well, I went to Iraq in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom, and I worked for Halliburton, KBR, and I went there as an IT tech. And on the fourth day in Iraq, I was socializing with some fellow American contractors and was handed a drink. I was offered a drink, and I took 2 sips from the drink and don't remember anything after that. I woke up to my body brutally raped and beaten, and the injuries I sustained were so severe, which required me to have a reconstructive surgery on my chest. Later on, I just decided to start the Jamie Leigh Foundation because not only could I not pursue my case against my assailants criminally, I failed to be able to pursue a case civilly because of the arbitration provisions in my employee contract. So I decided to start the Jamie Leigh Foundation to make sure that other victims have an avenue for justice so that I could stand up in front of Congress and try and get some laws changed to protect these women that are also coming forward. But currently, right now, there's actually 40 women who have sought help through the foundation.
Now, we're also joined by a woman we'll call Lisa Smith. Jamie Leigh Jones has been going through this for several years now. First, what happened to her in Iraq, and then how she is trying to get redress, to get justice. Lisa, first tell us why you don't want to use your real name, and then tell us what happened to you and when it happened.
Good morning.
Hi.
The main reason at this point why I do not want to use my real name is that hopefully there will be some charges pressed in my case. It's currently still under investigation both by the military and the government. So I'm trying to keep some sense of confidentiality.
Tell us what happened. When did you go to Iraq?
I went to Iraq in July of 2007. I'm I believe a KBR employee, also through Service International, our Service Employees International. We're having some issues as far as the clarity of whose employee I'm actually having. I have a similar issue as Jamie Leigh does as far as our contract. It's not clear who we actually work for. And again, we also have an arbitration clause in our contract through Service Employees International. However, I always was under the understanding that I was a KBR employee.
So it's only now when you're involved with the legal system that you're learning you may have been employed by another company somehow connected to KBR.
Correct. They are somehow connected. We're just not real clear on the connection at this point. And however, KBR is standing by this arbitration clause that Service Employees International has on the contract that we signed.
Tell us what happened in Iraq.
I was a paramedic for Iraq in a southern part of Iraq, and had been only at that particular site for, I'm sorry, I needed to stop our car. I was only at that site for approximately 10 days. And again, I was socializing with the military as well as other KBR employees. And we had a drink, and shortly after consuming part of that drink, I have very little memories of any activity after that. I also woke up in another location and had been assaulted. There was blood and feces in the room, and there was a military personnel in the room. And the camp management, from what I've found out through the investigation and what the investigators have told me, the camp management actually was in the room during the assault several times.
How do you know this?
I learned this through CID's investigation.
CID is the military investigation.
Correct. The investigation did not begin until almost 5 weeks after the assault, and the investigation was initiated after I reported it. The camp evidently had, the management of the camp had already been under suspicion for other allegations, which is a large concern of mine, because we were not, when I was sent there, I was not aware that there was an ongoing issue at that camp.
Which camp was it?
I do not want to release that information at this time. There are several other innocent people there that could be affected by it.
And when you were there, did you report to your higher-ups? How did you deal that morning as you came to and realized what was happening?
I was physically ill from having feces being placed in my mouth. I had no other option other than to work that day. I was the only medical provider for that site. So I did work. I did have some rectal bleeding for about 4 days after that, and I had a discussion with camp management as well as with the military, and was informed at that time that I was not to say a word. Until I left that particular camp, I did not say a word. Once I was returned to another camp that was larger, that had more people available as far as human resources and employee relations, and in the employee assistance program, that is when I chose to report the incident and felt that I was in a safer environment to do so. The environment that I was in had very limited resources. There was no employee relations there until they came down to start this investigation of other issues in the camp. There was no human resources on a regular basis. There was no employee assistance on a any type of basis there other than traveling through to go to a different other site. So I had no options as far as who I could report it to, nor did we have military police there or American military established. There was a small group of American military there, but that was it.
Now, you worked, you believed, for KBR time. Did you, as a medic, have to treat one of your assailants?
Yes, I have.
What happened? What was that situation?
I had to treat him after an